So we are deep into it. Right now, I am 33 hours into this week's fast, and I want to check in with you to see where you are. I am working in the path that we've been laying out. This is what we've been doing. And I am improving my metabolic health. We're going to talk about what is the thing that happens when we actually play our own game. Hey, this is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives, which says that we're not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We're showing up with our best self, our best health, and our best plans, and we are going to be limitless. Hey, if you're new to me, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that I am excited and happy that you're here. If you do have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat, in the comments, so that I'll know that that's something that we need to get to as we move through our show tonight. We've got some exciting things that we're going to be talking about. We've got our monitors off to the side. I've got my report that we'll take a look at here in just a minute. So I've got my Keto Mojo and my Contour. I've got my Dexcom Clarity report right down below me so we can see what's been going on with my blood sugars and what's been going on with my ketones and all of those. All of that is coming here in just a little bit. The other thing that we are doing is I want to also encourage you, if you've not been over to our YouTube channel, well, some of you are, because you are here on the show. But if you are new to us, if you've not been over there, if you've not seen some of the changes that we've had, make sure you get over there and take a look, because what we've done is we've gone ahead and simplified the process. So if you go to the YouTube channel now, you will see that there are two playlists that will show up on that list, and they are one that's entitled Start Here, and this gives you where you want to go as you get to the channel, what's happening on the channel, how do we move through the path that we've been on, because we've been on this journey. And this is a curated list of episodes that we've put together that kind of walks you through the main concepts of the channel, the main concepts that I teach, the main things that we talk about when we talk about reversing diabetes. That's what that playlist is. And then the second one is if you're coming and you want to know, hey, I see all this stuff and I've been going through the process and I've been listening to them and I've been maybe gone for a while, or I'm here and I'm not quite sure what's going on this week. You can go to this list and it says this week's videos. So let me go ahead and pull that up for you so you can take a look. So here's the channel. The show that we are on right now, right? The live that we're on right now shows up right here, 33-hour fast, and that's the one that you are watching right now. And then down below that, you'll see this playlist that says Start Here. It says Reverse Diabetes and Reclaim Your Health with Dr. Dwayne Wood. And that's the path that you would walk through. Below that is the other playlist I mentioned, and that is this week's videos. And if you are interested in what's going on this week, you want to jump right in and say, okay, I've been gone, or I need to remember what we're doing this week. This is the list of videos that's there. So all the videos that we've done for this week so far will show up there. Everything from our strength training and mindset to our pop-up live where we do our check-in, and of course our main show, Dwayne Wood MD Live, where we kicked off this week's episode on playing your own game. So all of those are there on the YouTube channel. Also, if you go to DwayneWoodMD.com, and this is the website, this is the Dwayne Wood MD website, you'll see some changes there as well. And so if you scroll down and go, I have a little welcome to thank you for joining the community. We talk a little bit about if you're new here, start here, and those same two things you'll find. This is the playlist that I just mentioned that says Start Here, right? So start watching the videos. So once again, come to the website, it points you directly to that playlist. But the other thing that's on here is you can go and you can download your free guide, and that guide walks you through the blueprint that is outlined in those videos. Okay, so this one kind of walks you through, and I'll go ahead a minute here and put that link so that you can actually. Why don't we do that right now? Let's go ahead, and I'm gonna grab the link from the YouTube channel, and I'm going to paste it in the comments. Right. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, where is it? There it is. And so so you should be able to grab that out of the comments and go there and download that free Start Here guide that helps you to walk through what we're doing on the channel. All right, so make sure you get over there, and so here it comes. I'm just dropping that in right now. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to hop over and we're going to take a look at what's going on with blood sugars, walk through what's happening with my ketones, and then get into our discussion. So let's do that right now. And so here is what my Freestyle Libre says that my blood sugar is, and we'll look at this number right here. So it's 64, 63 right now. And then if we scroll down a little bit in the kind of the middle of that screen, you'll see there that my average blood sugar, or the blood sugar for the day, for the early part of the day, you see the white squiggly line. That means that that's above 70. And then, of course, the squiggly line that's red, that's below the dashed line, that means that my blood sugar is below 70. So above 70 with the the white squiggly line, and then below 70 on the red part. And then if I scroll through, and we're going to go and grab right now, here is my Dexcom report. This is the Dexcom. This is a G7, by the way, and the one that we looked at for the Libre was a 3+. So here's my blood sugar, what it is right now, 86. And then scrolling down right about here, you'll see also there is the graph that shows what my blood sugars have been doing today. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to a 24-hour view. And then I can put my finger on that, and we can actually see what's been going on with blood sugars over the last 24 hours. And you see there, we've been kind of hovering in the low 100s. I think we spiked up to maybe 115 or 120. Let's see, what was the highest? So 112, 113, and then back down into the 90s, and then into the 80s, down to where we are right now. Okay, so that's what's been going on blood sugar wise. Now let's go over and let's take a look at these are my monitors. I've got my Keto Mojo and I got my Contour. So let's grab our container. I need a brown for blood sugar. This is for the Keto Mojo, by the way. And then I need a blue for ketones. I need some Lancets right here, and then I need some strips for the Contour. So let's go ahead and get one of those out. Boom, boom, boom. Put that back and get that into, this is the Contour meter. And people ask me, why do I use a Contour meter? That's the one I use at the office, and so that's the one I have here on the show. Let's go ahead and open up this. This is the strip for blood sugar for the Keto Mojo. And if you are there, go ahead and put in, what do you think my ketones are? So 33 hours of fasting, and I'm going to go ahead and open the keto stick as well and just have that off to the side. And then, as I always say, I don't use a Lansing device. I simply use a Lancet. So let's go ahead and we're going to open that up. And there is, yeah, there it is. And find the finger. And a poke, and ow, 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 ow. All right, let's make sure we get a good brisk drop of blood, and we get that onto the Keto Mojo. Get one for the Contour. Okay, that's where we are, and let's get back over here. All right, there we are. And so the Keto Mojo says that I'm 71, the Contour says I'm 69, and of course right there you'll see what the Dexcom says. And let's take this out and go ahead and get a ketone stick in. And I see some people starting to put some guesses. What do you think it is going to be at 33 hours of fasting? Let's get that started. And while that's doing that, I'm going to flip over and go to my Keto Mojo app. Oh, it didn't start, did it? Oh, wow. Okay. So I need another drop, y'all. That means I've got to poke myself again. No. All right, so let's grab another strip. And I'm not sure what happened in that case. Okay, so here's another strip. Get that out. Get that into the monitor. And here I go. I've got to do error. So I've got to do that again. So here we are. And finger stick, finger stick, finger stick. Ow, ow, ow. And let's make sure we get a good drop there. And that one didn't flow as well as I thought I wanted, but it's going to be good enough. So here we go. And so yeah, so that one got started. And let's see what we are. So 33 hours of fasting. I see some folks dropping some numbers in there. So what's your guess? What's your guess? And 1.0. 1.0 is what it is. Let's go ahead and sync this and make sure that we can get that over. So 1.0, and it's reading 16%. Okay, 1%. And this is just pulling everything over. So when we talk about ketones, remember that ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. So right now I am 1.0, and so that I'm in that nutritional ketosis period. And this is taking a little longer to sync, but that's okay. We're gonna wait. And I also want you to, I guess, as we talk about this, as blood sugars go down. Remember, as the blood sugars go lower, that means the insulin in my body actually also decreases. When insulin decreases, then my body allows the breakdown of fat, and as a result of the breakdown of fat, then we get ketones that will develop. Okay, and so in this case, we have my ketones are 1.0, which means that my body has been breaking down fat in order to produce ketones. And I like this, right? And you should like this as well, because my blood sugars are low, right? So blood sugars are low, 69, I think, or 63 is what it was. Because the blood sugars are low, I know that my ketones or my insulin also has to be low. And because the insulin is low and I'm seeing ketones, that means my body has to be breaking down fat. So I'm waiting for this to kind of sync, and it says this will take a few minutes. Keep the meter turned on, which it is, and there we go. So we got all of those over, and let's take a look at where we are right now. Okay, so what we're doing, and I'm gonna go to this view. So what we're doing is looking at this monitor, and you'll see there's that big number that's in the middle, and then you see ketones or glucose that's 71, and then ketones 1.0. And the glucose-keto index, or GKI, is a ratio of glucose to ketones. Now, if you're looking at that, you're just like, wait a minute, if I divide 71 by 1, that doesn't give me 3.9. Well, let me go over, and I'm going to grab my calculator here really quickly, and we're going to walk through that together. So, yeah, here we are. So if I grab my calculator, and so my blood sugar was 71, and I have to convert it into international units. So I'm going to divide that by 18, right? So 18, 3.9, and then if I divide that by 1, then I get the 3.9 that we see right here. Okay? So that's where the 3.9 comes from. It's a converted ratio of glucose to ketones. So when we talk about the GKI and glucose and ketones, we want our blood sugars to be low. We want our GKI to be as low as possible, and we want the ketones to be as high as possible. Really, we want them to be, as long as they're over 0.5, then we are satisfied that we're in ketosis. Now, the higher they go, That means that the body is producing more ketones, and that can have lots of different reasons why you are at one place or another. One of the things that I've done in terms of my fasting, and you guys have seen this over the last several weeks, is I've actually changed my toothpaste. Yeah, because we used to get that big spike in the morning based on the toothpaste I was using, and we'll do something where we come back and kind of walk you guys through that. But right now, 3.9 GKI with glucose that's 71 according to my Keto Mojo, and 1.0 for my ketones. So I'm excited about that because that means that my body's burning fat. So now let's go over, and since we're talking about burning fat, let's look at one of the parameters that we haven't looked at recently, but that we continue to be interested in. And this is the app that I use to track my weight. And this syncs with my scale. So every time I get on the scale, then it shows up, and this is where I am. And so this is my weight right now. If we go and we look at the trends, and so here I am over the course of the last, and this is the week view, right? So we were 187, 186, 189 right there, 188, 188, 190 at one point, right? And so going through the last week or so, you'll see blood sugar or weight going 180s, 190s, 187, 186, down to 183. That was last week. And then to where I am right now, 185. If I look at going back and looking at a year view, what we'll see is that if I scroll back over the years, right? So in this app, the highest one I have is actually a 260. Is it 260? Yeah, 260 was the highest weight that I had on having this app, and we've been tracking this for a while. So my highest weight that I have recorded is a 287. 287. And so here I am at 260 here, and then scrolling down to where I am right now, right? So 185. And so people will ask me, they say, well, what are you doing? What do you do? And it has been a process, right? So this is not something that happened overnight. It has been a process. In fact, if I go back, let's see, where are we? So if I go back here and I look at the date, right? So this was back in 2022, right? At January of 2022, where my weight was 260, and prior to that, it was 280. And so over the course of time, you see that I've gone down, and then so went from here down and went back up. So not quite 260, but 245, and then continue to scroll. So we went down, and then where did I go? And then went down and went back up. Here we are, right? And so the course of this has been a continual, let me get back to this one. So the course of this has been a downward trend, but it has not been a straight line. And so if you're out there and you're looking at your weight and you are frustrated because, well, went up a couple pounds, you went down a couple pounds, you went up a couple pounds, you went down a couple pounds. The goal is to have a continual trend in the downward direction and have a trend that is moving, I don't want to say expeditiously, but moving in the right direction at the right pace. And so for people who are losing weight, the goal is that they are able to lose about a half a pound to a pound a week. That's the goal. If you remember a couple years ago, when we went through, it's a half a pound to a pound a week. So we went through a year where my goal was to lose a pound, right? So really was that to lose 0.75 pounds. I ended up losing 1 pound a week for that year. So that was 52 pounds for the year. So my point in going through that is that as you are moving through the metabolic space, if you are someone who's interested in weight loss and weight management, then we want to make sure that as you're losing weight, you are losing weight at a pace that you're able to sustain. Now, you can lose 100 pounds in whatever number of days or weeks that they tell you, but the question is it sustainable? And so what we want to do is we don't want to lose weight over the course of a week or a month and then say, okay, we're great, and then all of a sudden, we can't sustain that. So we want sustainable weight loss, and the reason for that half a pound to a pound a week is that that's sustainable. Now, a caveat to that is if you are on one of the GLPs, and the GLPs are those medications that everybody's talking about right now. If you are on one of those, then we're looking for weight that's going down faster. Why? Because those things are supposed to help you in the weight management arena. And so if you're on one of those and the weight is not going down more quickly, then the question then becomes why. And so that's the conversation I have in the office when I'm bringing people back and we're looking at their weight, those people who are on the GLPs. My question to them is, if we know the medication is working, which it does, and we know that it suppresses the appetite, which it does, the question then becomes, why is our weight not going down? And so we have to go through that process. And often it is one of those things we talk about in the HEAT model: habits, emotions, access, and taste. It's one of those. Some people are I shouldn't say some people, but most people, when they begin thinking and we begin talking, they identify some trigger that's causing them to eat a little differently. Some trigger that's causing them to buffer. Some trigger that's causing some process that is negating or slowing the effect of the medication. Because the medication works, but it does not suppress your anxiety, depression, boredom, fatigue. It doesn't suppress any of those things. It doesn't change your habits. It doesn't take the food out of your environment. It doesn't clean the environment up. And it doesn't change your taste. All it does is suppresses the appetite and makes you feel fuller longer. But you can push through that. If you're stressed enough, tired enough, bored enough, whatever enough, you can push through what the medication is doing. And so our conversation with people as we're talking through some of those concepts in the office is not to take the food, right? We don't try to take the food. What we try to do is figure out, okay, what's causing it and what's going on there, okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. This is my Dexcom Clarity Report. And you'll see there for the last 14 days, my average blood sugar has been 105. My range, I'm in range 96% of the time, and the target being 70 to 180. My GMI, or glucose management indicator, is 5.8. That means if I were to get an A1C based on this for today, for now, it would approximate a 5.8. And so I love those numbers. If I change this to a 90-day view, and I look at what my average blood sugar is, it's 116. I usually tell people I want their average blood sugar to be between 100 and 120, and so that's in keeping with that. I'm in target 98% of the time, target being 70 to 180. Once again, if I get my A1C, then I'm expecting it to be close to 6.1. It may not be exact because it's calculated here, but the A1C is a more accurate number. And then looking at blood sugars now over the course of the last little while, I'm going to go back to yesterday when we started our fast, right about here. And if you have not yet seen the episode that we did where we had our last meal, go ahead and watch that so that you'll get an idea of what should have happened to my blood sugar, what did happen to my blood sugar, and understand the correlation between that. Because as we go through the week of fasting, we'll be making reference to what happens to blood sugar and what we expect blood sugars to do, and what is the best practice for getting into a fast, the types of foods that you should eat getting into a fast. And of course, on Friday, we'll show what we're eating as our first meal out of the fast. So that kind of caps it together or puts some bookends to it. But go back and watch that episode. But right here, so we're fasting, or we're starting the fast, and we ate our last meal. And you'll see as we go through, blood sugars started at 115 or thereabouts. And so ate the meal, and then blood sugars, so 115, 120, 121, 124 that I saw there, 119, 121, 122, 118, and then it started dropping into the lower 100s, 109, 106, 103, and going into the evening, and then dropping even more down into the 90s. You see that? 90s, 100s, and then going into this morning. So that was midnight right there, and 107, coming down, coming down, coming down into the 90s. And here we are right at 5, 6 o'clock when I get up and brush my teeth. And you see that we have a little bit of rise there, right? Because it was down in the 80s and 90s. We have a little bit of rise there, and that's still a bit of a toothpaste effect, but not as dramatic as we normally see. And so we got up to about 116, 118, and then started dropping back down into the low 100s, into the 90s, and then into the 80s, and then into what we see right now in 180 or 86. And so that's kind of the trend that we want when we're looking at blood sugars. We don't want any big spikes. We don't want any big changes in that blood sugar, because once again, when we have those big changes, what we will have is that the insulin will come out. And when the insulin comes out, as we mentioned before, when we were talking about our ketones, then the ketones become negated. So we don't have as much, we don't have as high, they don't last as long, and all those things that happen. Okay, so that is what we want to happen. We want those blood sugars to be as stable and as level. That's the word I want to use, as level as possible. All right, so let's go ahead, and I want to do a check-in. So we're 33 hours into this week's fast. And let's talk a little bit about how I'm doing physically, mentally, and emotionally. These are the 3 areas where people can have challenges. So I go through these because these are not just the areas where people have challenges, but these are also 3 of the top domains when we talk about our domains of health. And so physically, I'm right now feeling pretty good. It is hot where I am. As a matter of fact, it's hot here right now in this room because we're still having some air issues. But actually feeling good. I rested well. Last night I think I got 7-8 hours of sleep, and so rested well. Got up this morning. I went for a walk today. So all of that is in keeping with how I'm feeling and the benefits I'm getting from this process that I'm on. I'm not feeling lightheaded, dizzy, or sweaty. That usually comes from the fact if I'm not hydrating well. And so right now I'm doing a good job of hydrating. I did a good job of resting, so I'm not feeling those profound fatigue symptoms. How I'm doing mentally, I'm feeling clear. I'm not feeling foggy-headed, as though I'm dull or grasping for words or can't think or can't calculate or any of those things that go along there. That also goes along with what's happening in terms of physical. So if you're tired, you will find that physically you will have some issues, and mentally you will have issues as well. So right now, all of that seems to be doing well. And then of course, emotionally, if you are in the community, you saw me post one of the my shout outs for the week. So every week I do a shout out and kind of a marching orders for our community. If you've not been there, if you're not part of the community, make sure you join us. But one of the things I commented about was the fact that last week, as I came through that fast, 72 hours, there was this clarity and this elation and this excitement that happened as I got into that 48 into 72 hours. And just coming out of that and into this week I was just feeling very very excited, very joyous, very happy. That is one of the things that people talk about when they talk about fasting, that there is this clarity, there's this energy that comes, there is this peace that comes over you. That is an amazing process to see. And so this week we're actually feeling very good as we walk through the fast. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look and let's say hello to some of our community members that are out there. I do see you, so let's say hello. And I think I saw Juyeon, who was the first one that came on. So let's pop that. And Juyeon says, "Hi, doctor. What is going on, Juyeon? How are you?" And she says, "Hi, doctor and LLG." She was guessing that my ketones were going to be 0.6, and as you saw, it was 1. Steve was guessing that they would be 0.8, so closer. And Gion is saying hi, Steve. Steve saying hello to Gion. Smiley faces. I'm sorry. She said, I'm sorry. I had to poke myself again. Yeah, for that to get those ketones. That last strip. And so, wow, great number. Yes. Steve. Gion's asking, do you eat cheese? I love cheese every day. And does cheese raise your blood sugar? And the answer to that question is yes, it can. It doesn't raise your blood sugar as high as other things, but cheese does have carbs. It says, is there any side effect for eating a lot of cheese? Some people, when they eat cheese, can have increased inflammation, increased mucus production. Some people who have milk intolerance can have some issues GI wise. Some people can have bloating. Some people can have constipation because cheese can bind you up. That's for some people. Not everybody has all those symptoms. So for any food, you've got to figure out and you've got to realize what it's doing for you and adjust yourself and adjust your diet accordingly to that. One of the things that I did not say at the beginning, at top of the show, is I want to welcome you, whatever platform you're on, LinkedIn, if you're on Twitch, if you're on Facebook, and if you are, of course, here on YouTube. And if you're watching us because you saw our content somewhere else, in your community center, in your doctor's office, at your church, we welcome you. Special shout out to those people who are from Atlanta, Berean, and of course Riverside, Nashville. Thank you for coming through and hanging out with us. Glad that you are here. So let's go ahead and let's hop into our discussion as we talk about where we are in this 33-hour fast. All right, so 33-hour fast. So tonight isn't just about where we are in the fast. It's about what the silence of this stage is trying to give us feedback on, right? So that we can use it. Because at 33 hours, the noise outside starts to fade. And when I'm talking about noise, I'm talking about food noise. When I'm talking about those cues around me. But the noise inside starts to be interesting. That's what starts to rise. So we're going to spend some time talking about that and talking about what fasting does. And this week, if you remember, we are talking about, or in this series, we're talking about playing your own game. Now, you know, one of the most surprising things about fasting isn't the hunger. It's the clarity. And that's what I mentioned earlier as we were doing our check-in, that there is a clearness that comes, there is this peace that comes, there is this connection that we make as the body begins using ketones as energy. This is where all the magic begins to happen. There was a time during one of my early fasts, somewhere between 36 hours, when I felt like I could hear my thoughts. I can hear my thoughts as a sound. It wasn't a physical hunger that showed up. It was mental. It was just noise. It was old patterns. It was self-doubt. It was boredom. It was guilt. It was all of those things. And sometimes when we're in the fast at this stage, and one of our talk about community members, as we were doing check-in, it was yesterday or today, was commenting that they hear the food noise. But you see, at 33 hours, this is where we begin to see biology happening. And the biology that we're seeing is amazing because insulin is going low, ketones are rising. Your brain is shifting from using that old fuel to using the new fuel, which is ketones. Ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, has already spiked and come down, right? That happened earlier on as we were going through that postprandial period. Inflammation is lower. Glycemic variability is low, so we're not having lots of twists and turns. We're not having a lot of spikes in our blood sugar, which is what we would expect because our body has used up the sugar that's floating around in our blood, and it has gone to the liver. It's taken the glycogen out of the liver, and now it's gone to the fat cells and is burning the fat cells, which is where the ketones come from. Your body is quieter, but your mind, that's where the storm is coming. So here's the reflection that I want you to give. This is a reflection I want you to say. What am I craving that food can't fix? What am I craving that food can't fix? So we use food, and I'm gonna tell you, as I was getting ready to come on and do this show, I was actually leaving the office. And as I was leaving the office, I thought to myself, I'm not hungry, but when I end the fast, I'm going to eat X. Now, as you know, we have our default meal that we eat. We have our preparation that we do. But here I am in the middle of the fast, not even hungry, but my brain is starting to put thoughts in there. And what was rising up was that I have several things that I'm working on, several projects that I'm working on. I've got some deadlines that are coming up. And so what was happening was those emotions were translating into grabbing at my past. Because in my past, I used food for stress. I used food for distraction. I used food for boredom. I used food for all those different things. And so here I was, not hungry at all, but as I was processing the things that I needed to do, here comes the food noise. So the question is, what am I craving food, or what am I craving that food can't fix? I'm craving comfort. I'm craving the idea of peace. I'm craving getting rid of the stress that's there. I'm craving even some relief from the procrastination that I may be going through. Food can't fix that, but food has the ability for a temporary time to buffer us from that. And so we eat food, and all of a sudden, for the moment, we feel like, okay, things are better. But once the food goes away, once the food digests, once the body gets rid of the sugar, and we're in that space, guess what? The situation is still there. So the food didn't fix the situation. So fasting, one, becomes a mirror. Not just for your biology, but to your beliefs. What does that mean? What does that mean? So you already have a system in place, even if it's a chaotic system. For example, right? I remember growing up, and there was a process for doing clothes. And so there are 6 of us in our family. And so some of us were a lot neater than some other people, right? I was not on the neater part. So you go and you get your clothes, and some people had their clothes well lined up in the closet, folded and so forth. And that's a great system because you go in and you can find whatever you want. Everything is color coordinated or on different hangers or whatever it was. Everything is in a drawer. Well, if you didn't have that system, your stuff is still in the closet, or they're still in the drawer, but they're chaotic. You know, this thing is over there, and this have your shirt over that one, and in the drawer, they're not nicely folded, and they're just pushed in there. That's a system. It's a chaotic system, but it is a system. It is still a system. So what fasting does is fasting pulls back the curtain, and it reveals the cost of not having a system that's working. What's the cost of not having a system that's rhythmically aligned with what you want to do and who you say you are? It exposes where the structure is missing. So you're skipping meals. You skipped a meal, but didn't have anything to anchor a replacement. You got hungry, but had no mental script for it. You felt restless, but didn't have a boundary between discomfort and disaster. So all those things will show up in the fast, and normally we would turn to food for the buffer. But since we can't do that, then we realize, wait a minute. That's right. I just came straight into the fast. I didn't have a plan for how I was going to end my eating period. And so here it is. I'm in the fast, and I feel as though I am hungry and starving because I didn't do a good job of coming into the fast. I didn't plan for that. I'm hungry now in the fast, but I don't have any mental work that I've planned to get me. I don't have a script. Because I didn't plan. I'm restless because I've got this project to do. I've got this other thing over here. I've got that thing over there. I'm restless, but I don't have anything that I've put into place to help me deal with those emotions. So this is why people relapse. This is why fasts unravel. Not because there's something wrong with the fast, but because the structure now that's supposed to help us get through the fast has not been put in place, or it has not been refined, or it has not been practiced. Come on, let's talk about those. Let's go through those three. So one is not put in place. What does that mean? That means that you don't have That means you did not have anything that you have decided, okay, this is what we're doing. So there's not a structure there. There's not a way of dealing with all the things that come up. Because I did not do that. Or I didn't refine it. Or I have a structure, and the last time I fasted, I used this structure, and it needed some tweaking, but I didn't go back and I didn't tweak it. I didn't assess it, right? When we do our check-in, I didn't assess it to refine it to say, okay, next time when I fast, I'm going to do this to be more successful. Right? So I didn't do any of those things. So if that's the case, then things begin to unravel. Let's go a little deeper in what's going on right now. So cortisol, that stress hormone, spiked when we first started because fasting is seen as a stress initially. And then now it's stabilizing. So the fasting stabilizes. Dopamine goes down when structure is missing. BDNF, brain-derived natriuretic factor, is rising. This is your moment for neuroplasticity, for rewiring. But if we have something that is blunting that, if we have something that's negating that, then our body does not go readily into burning fat. And so the things that we get, the hormones that are supposed to come out, the hormones that are supposed to help us, they get delayed. And so we make it well into what we consider the fasting without getting those hormonal changes because of the structure and the plans that we had earlier on. And here specifically, we're talking about the food, the stress, and the rest that we had, or even the hydration. So any of those can throw our fasting off, not because there's something wrong with fasting, but because the structure is not there. So remember, we're talking about playing your own game, right? So that's the theme as we walk through this week. The play your own game says that there are some things that are around me that would tend to try to influence me. And I'm not allowing those things to affect me. That's what limitless living says. I'm not allowing those things to prevent me. Nothing from outside or nothing from inside. So my mindset, my thought process, all of that comes into play. So fasting doesn't just reveal your biology. It reveals your behavioral blueprint. I want you to get that. So it's not just, okay, what's going on in my body physically. So my weight is going down, my blood sugars are better, my ketones are up, all of those things. That's great because fasting will show me that. But it also reveals what my blueprint is for my behavior. How do I handle stress? How do I handle deadlines? I can't tell you the number of times that I'm tempted to get a bowl of nuts and just have it here as I'm working, right? So boom, 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 boom. Right? So that is one of my behavioral blueprint items that I now have to look at and say, wait a minute. Why am I doing that? Because I want to distract my mind, or I want to give a break to my mind. I want to be busy, right? So my mouth is moving. I'm doing some action. I'm getting some spikes in my blood sugar, by the way, right? And so that gives me a little bit of burst of energy. It is something to do. I'm getting some dopamine from it. But when I'm fasting and I'm working, guess what? I don't have that anymore. And so fasting says, hey, you have got to figure out something else to do during that period. So what is one of the things that people miss during this space? And this is the danger zone. People think the hunger is the issue. They say, this is hard. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I shouldn't fast. But the hunger isn't the problem. The hunger actually is the portal. You're not being punched. You're not being dragged. You're being invited. Invited into a different relationship with your body. A different relationship with how you manage, how you think, how you behave, how you relate. A different relationship with your body and a different relationship with the blueprint that already exists. This is where most people start trying to white knuckle their way through it. I'm going to do it. I have conversations all the time where I talk to people and I say, well, what is the plan? What is going to be our plan? And they say, well, I'm just not going to eat that thing. And what they're saying is, by golly, I'm going to muster up some inner fortitude. I'm going to get stronger and I'm not going to eat that thing. And I appreciate the sentiment. And the motivation that goes with that right now is high. But a month from now, that motivation is not there. So we play into other people's ideas of how things should go. We play into the all or nothing thinking. Well, if I can't do a 72-hour fast like Dr. Wood, then I'm not going to fast at all. Man, I made it to 16 hours. I guess there's something wrong with me. We play into the over-efforting shame spiral. I'm going to give it 100%. I'm going to give it 110%. I'm going to go at this for 30 days. I'm going to go at this for 90 days. I'm going to go at this. And then, oh my goodness, look at that one day when I didn't do it. I didn't make it. How did I get off my schedule? And we start into that shame spiral. And the problem with the shame spiral is that when you start going down the shame spiral, it takes you a long time to finally stop falling, get yourself back together, and start heading back up. That's the danger. So it's not just, okay, you fall, quote unquote, and then you hit the bottom and then we're back up. No, that's not how that happens. That's why when I talk to people about fasting, I say, if you are going to fast, whatever situations are going on, family reunion, anniversary, birthdays, whatever it is, plan your fast so that it does not coincide with the same time of the event. Number one, that's one strategy. Another strategy is to fast. If you, for instance, I do a 72-hour fast. If there's something coming up, I could decide that I'm going to fast for 2 days and then I'm going to stop the fast for this week. So I got my 2 days in. Or I'm going to fast for 2 days, go to the function, come back and start a fast after that. So I got my 3 days. So I'm playing my game. I'm not playing somebody else's game. So I've got to tailor for myself the tools that I have access to and use them in a way that's beneficial for me. So I'm not white knuckling it. Oh, I just got to get, if I can just get through this, I'm going to be fine. But here's the play your own game truth. What if this moment, this fasting moment, this moment when things seem to not be going your way, what if this was meant to be pushed? It was meant to push you through. It was meant for you to listen to yourself. It was meant for you to understand what's going on in your body, for you to get a better sense of how you relate to things around you. This moment. And if you push through that moment because you've prepared, then you begin to get some clarity on what I need to do. So ask yourself, what strategy is breaking down right now? What rhythm am I missing? What is my body actually telling me at this moment? And what is my body actually ready to build? Because sometimes, just as we're getting ready to get that breakthrough, we change, we turn back, we stop. So here's the real shift. You don't need more motivation. And you've heard me say that over and over, right? You don't need more motivation. Because if you're listening to me, if you've been following me, if you're watching me, if you've attempted, there's motivation there. There is a desire there for whatever reason. What we need is rhythm. That is, what is the goal? What is our purpose? We need alignment so that the behaviors that we have are pushing us in the direction of what we say we want. And we need structure. That's the thing that keeps us grounded and keeps us going when you wake up that morning and you don't feel like going walking. You wake up that morning, you don't feel like going to the gym. You wake up that day and it's that day that everything that you ever dreamed about eating shows up on the table. That's what playing your own game looks like. The rhythm, the alignment, and the structure. Fasting reveals it, not because it's easy, but because it's honest. Fasting puts us in the space so that we really get to see all the things that are going on, all the things that we are looking at. So let's look at a couple of things. So the chaos game. The chaos game is we skip meals because the schedule, whatever happened. We just skip meals. We're skipping meals all the time. The reactive game is a one of restriction and binging. Restriction and binging. This is when it comes to our eating. And my game, your game, should be fasting with rhythm. So that, hey, they say I'm supposed to fast. I'm just going to skip this meal, just randomly. The reactive game, say, oh, well, I know I'm supposed to fast, but, I'm going to fast. I'm going to cut back on food. I'm not going to eat for 2 days. I'm not going to eat but then when I come back, I'm going at it. I'm eating all this stuff. Notice both of those are just random or planned chaos. But my game says that I am planning to fast for a particular period every week, and this is it. So I get into the rhythm. It's not random. The chaos game says I react to cravings. I react to cravings. So something, I feel like I'm getting some, I would want to get some chocolate. That's the chaos game. The reactive game pushes me into a shame loop. Oh, I ate that chocolate. I got that Cadbury. I ate that thing. And so, oh, what a bad person I am. And so we hit that spiral and we start going down. But the play your game plan says, I'm going to decide ahead of time when I go to that family function that I'm going to eat whatever's there. I'm going to have a little bit of it because I know that I am going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy my time with the family, but because I'm giving myself permission to eat, my body, my brain is not going to let me eat all the stuff that it would if I try to restrict it. I'm pre-deciding. I'm not going there and letting my emotions decide for me. The chaos game says I'm going to wait to feel ready. Then I will start working on my health. I'll start eating better. The reactive game is an all or nothing. Either I'm going to do it all. If I can't do balance bites, walking, strength training, mental mastery, rest and restoration, structure and planning, if I can't do all of it, I'm not doing any of it. And the play your own game plan is show up with what you have. Show up with the scaffolding. That's what Limitless Living says. I'm going to show up with my best self, my best health, and my best plan. It doesn't say I have to be perfect. I'm showing up with what I have. So you've tried before. And the question is, are you ready? Are you ready now to put some structure? You've tried a couple of things. You've tried the first two. You've tried the chaos. You've tried the reactive version. You've tried them. And you know how they work. You're now ready to know how to end that type of game. This is your game. This is not for anybody else. This is your game, not theirs. It's not your past self's game. It's my current self's game. And if I play my game, then I get to be successful. I get to be, I get to have my metabolism where I want it to be. I get to work through that process. I get to be in the space that I want to be in. And that's the goal. That's the benefit of all the things that we talk about when we talk about playing your own game. That's what that means. It means that I am putting structure in place that helps me to be where I need to be. That's the beauty of fasting. It tells the truth that you didn't know that you needed. It tells the truth you didn't know you were ready to hear. It shows you where the gaps are, not just in your blood sugar, not just in your weight management, but in your system, your strategy, and your structure. So instead of rushing past this moment, 33 hours, I want you to sit in it. What is the fast revealing? Not about what I'm eating, but about what you've been believing and the game you've been playing. Let that question lead you. And when you're ready, build something better. Don't rely on your motivation, because motivation is a great place to start the fire. But motivation will wane. And when it goes, when it leaves, the things that you thought you wanted to do, if there's not a structure or scaffolding to hold it, it all begins to crumble. And we don't want that to be the case. We want to continue having success after success after success. And that is what playing your own game means. And that is the foundational idea behind limitless living. We'll continue talking more about fasting and playing your own game and limitless living. Stay by. So whose game are you playing? That's the question. And so we want to play our own game. Playing our own game means that we are showing up with our best self, our best health, and our best plans. And we are taking that and we are expanding it. We're growing it. We're getting better. And one of the reasons that we fast, one of the reasons that we walk and we do strength training, one of the reasons that we go through the process is that the game we're designing requires tools. And the tools that we have are the tools that we've been learning. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. That's what I do. That's what we do here. We educate, we empower, we encourage. We provide the education for the mindset change so we understand how our body works, understand how our memory works, we understand what those triggers are that push us, and then what are some ways that we can go about implementing change. That's the empowerment part. The change that we require to put us in the direction of being successful. We educate, we empower, and we encourage with this amazing community that you are part of, that we are growing, right? We come along, and we get to support each other, we get to lift each other, we get to push each other forward. That's the community. Community is amazing. We educate, we empower, and we encourage. And you have heard me talk a little bit about the accelerator that will show up, that will come. The accelerator is the driving engine. It's the car. It's the vehicle that takes all of the things that we're learning and puts it together and says, okay, how is this going to be sustained? So if you're ready for that, keep an eye out. It's going to show up on our website. There will be a link there that we'll put out. It will show up there for you to be able to go there and click and sign up and be a part of that process. We don't want to go through that cycle over and over and over and over again. You've tried it before. You've tried those things. And you have had some successes right here. We want the success to continue moving and continue growing. We want that success to not just be a period of time, but I'm looking for you to do some stuff that's going to take you for the rest of your life. That's going to keep you healthy. That's going to keep you alive. That's going to keep you having joy and having the types of things that you want in your life. That's the rhythm. And now, are the things we're doing, are we doing the things that we need to do that push us in the direction of our rhythm? And do we have structure? And so all the things that you see us doing, educating, empowering, encouraging, it is to put structure. It is to put scaffolding. It is to put a space where you can go and you can plug in and say, hey, I know that if I continue the consistency in the structure, that I'm going to be successful. I don't have to worry about waking up one day and not feeling like doing it because I got a structure that's going to push me to do it. That's the benefit of structure and benefit of the things that we do. I'm always happy when you're here. I do see some of our some community members. Let me go back over there and just say hello. Let's see. I see. Oh, look at that. Let me hop over. So Steve says, it's in response to Gion's question. He said, yes, I occasionally eat cheese. I always watch the carbs on everything I eat. Yeah, because there are some carbs in there. Jennifer says, howdy all. Gion says, I'm craving that. I have to eat habit of mine. Yeah, it is a thing that happens. Gion says, hi Jennifer. Gion said, my thought that I have to eat is craving. Oh, it's a start, right? So that thought comes through, and it can be pretty powerful, particularly if we don't have things in place that kind of distract us. Gion said, thank you. Steve says, hello, Jennifer. Hello, Steve from Jennifer. And Gion says, thank you, doctor. I love it, love it, love it. We will be back, y'all, as we continue our trek through this week. We'll be back tomorrow for our pop-up live, right around 1-ish, maybe a little bit before, for our pop-up live as we do our fast. Congratulations to those of you who ended the fast today at 24 hours. Those of you who started the fast today and going into tomorrow, and of course, those who are starting tomorrow and going into Friday. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. Tomorrow night we'll be here again as we continue our shows. On Friday, we'll be doing our last show for the week. Well, not last show for the week, but we'll be doing our live for the week as we walk through fasting. How do we prepare for the fast, get through the fast, and how do we break the fast? And you get to see what we are going to eat for our first meal after 72 hours. So come on by and be with us for that. On Saturday, 9 p.m. Central, we'll have video from the vault. And then on Sunday morning, This Week in Review at 6 a.m. And we'll be right back here on next Monday for Dwayne Wood, MD Live as we continue our thoughts and our discussion and our learning and our tools for how do we go about playing your game, playing your own game. So come on back and be with us. Thank you for being here. This is Dr. Dwayne Wood. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives, which says that we are not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We're showing up with our best self, our best health, and our best plans, and we are going to be successful. So go live a limitless life, and we'll see you in our next show, and we'll see you in the community. Good night, everybody.